We are live. I need to make sure I tweet this out though. So give me a second. This is thrown together and hey, whatever. Well, all right. If you got questions, let me know. I guess I'll tweet it out on my phone. I think you got to play Eckes. He is going to be the obvious play. I also like Sanchez cycling to the lead at some point. No problem with that. I guess the elephant in the room is, well, do we play Kyle Busch? I am at this present moment not crazy about playing Kyle Busch. The Spire trucks didn't look great in practice. They got better in qualifying. We'll see how that goes. And it might be foolish for me to dismiss Busch based on a practice not being, the greatest of all time. But I don't know if I see it. Let me see if I can figure out how to tweet this thing out. You still like the one hog approach? I do, especially after what we have seen out of, well, so I believe that Eckes is going to get most of those points, but I think there will be an opportunity for Sanchez, so I don't mind playing both of those drivers, to be quite honest with you. I'm trying to figure out how to tweet this thing out. How do I go to my channel? My apologies for this being a slow start, but I don't mind going that direction. Just going pure Eckes is fine as well. I could see doing that. Something that I need to think about myself. Hey. When you throw these things together, it's not that easy to do. Oh, my videos is what I want. I can probably get there this way. There we go. Oh, there it is. This is how I do it. Oh, there it is. This is how I do it. My apologies. I'll get this rolling in a second. I just want to tweet this out so that maybe, there we go. All right, cool. It is tweeted. And I've got some stuff on the screen. So, yeah, I still do like the one hog approach. If you got questions, let me know as I sip on my Major Melon Mountain Dew. As you can see, I like Eckes a lot. There's a possibility that Sanchez could jump out there and cycle the lead. But if you watch my previous videos, lead changes aren't really that common. It's not very easy to pass. And I think you're going to have a hard time passing Eckes. I think, obviously, now, you're going to notice like we miss a bunch of laps, but there's just nothing you can do because the laps click off really fast. It's just a kind of an error thing there. But you look at Eckes's lap times, boy, that's just really strong, man. What am I going to tell you other than those are some pretty solid lap times that we're looking at. And even if it's like, oh, well, it's not even a discernible difference, he's got the track position. So as long as he doesn't have the worst restart ever, and we saw him pretty much run away with this race last season, and if it wasn't for a lapper at the very end of the race, I gotta give Heim some credit. Heim was right up on him, but it was a lapper situation. So I just don't see how Eckes doesn't repeat this performance. And it's not unusual. You look at what McAnally has done in previous seasons. They've had speed. There's Derek Kraus getting you 6 fast lap points, 7, and it's Derek Kraus. So you got to like what you're seeing. You like what you see out of them this year. Eckes is where I would go. I don't mind because Sanchez is so cheap. And even if he doesn't cycle to the lead and say 15 is a little high, let's dial that down and say, worst case scenario, he's going to, as long as he doesn't have an issue, he's going to scrape off probably 7 fast lap points. He still is a 6.4 at this price. Obviously, he's going to lose some points if he doesn't win the race, but he is clearly, he can work based on its price, whether you classify him as a second hog or not. Now, pardon me, I got to jump back and forth between screens because I'm actually recording on my Chromebook, so the volume may not really all be that great because I've got on the Mac the scrape going on to get the cup stuff. And on the iPad, watching practice, I just have to watch that later. But if technologically it's not great, I apologize. Can't find that flavor in Florida. Yeah, well, you're not really missing out on much. It's not really that good. Whatever. It's basically Diet Dew by another name. I like the in-finger play. I like the in-finger play with a little of now even more you. Well, I think you just like in-finger is what you're saying, and I like in-finger as well. There might be some leverage based on some people dismissing him. Remember, Robot is allied with Bill McAnally. We didn't see too much of that speed at the Las Vegas race, but it was a pretty competitive truck for a Cody Robot truck, which leads me to believe, yeah, it's pretty good. You got Jeff Stankiewicz as the crew chief. We know what Enfinger's crew history is, and we can just simply look at the practice times and say, all right, yeah, I think they've got this thing dialed in, and I'm fairly confident that Enfinger knows what he's doing. I mean, he went out there and turned 16 laps, a 120.5 on lap 16. Oh, hey, guess what? Eckes, who we love, ran a 120.7. Now, this is technically not his 16th lap. I want to let you know that because of the way the laps click off so fast, you can't pull everything. But for the most part, it's pretty equal. So for one driver that we miss for another. I think this is something that you can absolutely trust. If we just look at their 5 best laps, Enfinger 9th, not the greatest, still right there in the mix. Pretty good in the long run. I might have him juiced up a little too much, but I am giving him credit for what he's done in the past. And even if you just want to go with the lap average stuff, like 20 lap average, I know there wasn't a lot of drivers that did that, but still he's out there for 20 laps, 25 laps. That's pretty strong. 15 laps, it's pretty strong to be the second fastest. Comparable to Corey Heim. This might be a little strong to give him second. So, let's dial it down a notch. We dial it down a notch. It's 5.8. We can run the optimizer again and see what it spits out. And you know what? We might as well. Let's run the optimizer again and see what it spits out on here. Double check. Make sure my scraper's running. Scraper's running. Let's do the optimizer. And you can see over here kind of while that's running, some of where I've got them ranked right now. Before now lock, I obviously am going to change things around a little bit. But I like Eckes a lot, obviously. Sanchez. Bailey Curry's coming off as the value. Connor Jones, a guy that I talked about a lot in the videos earlier this week. Thor Motorsports. Corey Heim because of the place differential. Ty Majeski because he's good. Enfinger, no surprise. I really like Ankrum. I know some people dismiss Ankrum, and that's fine because if you've watched any of my videos, there's not been a person who's been tougher than Tyler Ankrum and has not been a believer. But one of the things of doing this is you got to be willing to change your mind and not be biased and admit when you're wrong. And we do have to step back and realize that Ankrum may not have been in the greatest equipment recently. And now he's in a very fast McAnally truck, and it shows. And he's looking pretty good. Even when he got his rando win with David Gilliland at Kentucky back in, 2019, those Gilliland trucks really weren't that great, obviously. So it's interesting to see where he will track out. So we got Eckes. We're still getting Anthony. We dialed him down a notch. He's still there. We're still getting Bailey Curry. We're still getting Connor Jones as an optimal play via the optimizer. Okay, let me jump back over. Look at question. PD, what is it supposed to say? My bad. Oh, sorry. Other than Eckes, would you think to go with him and cash on? Who would you go with on cash in DK? I like Bailey Curry a lot. He's showed you everything you need. He's got all the track history. As I mentioned before in previous podcasts, last week or 2 weeks ago at Las Vegas, Nice was decent. They had speed. They just had issues. Matt Mills got into the wall late in the race. Bailey Curry wrecked early in the race. So there's reason to believe that they have enough speed to be top 20 trucks. And I think they, for the most part, across the board with all their drivers, showed that this week. And I know he's not presenting a lot of like place differential upside, and you might want to chase like, oh, is he starting too close to the front? I mean, point bid dollar wise, we got him tracking out, or I don't really, I'm saying we 6.4. I got him as high as 7th. You want to dial that back a little bit? You know, I get there's a little bit of a risk. I do like him in this situation. At the moment, I don't know if I want to go through like all of my well, I guess if you want to really look at like who do I feel confident in cash, you know, I like Eckes. I think value-wise, I am looking at Curry and Connor Jones. I want to explore Connor Jones a little bit more. And again, I think it's going to risk people. I guess, you know, in cash, that might be a bit of a risk. Definitely is going to freak people out that are unfamiliar with Connor Jones, starting him that close to the front. I guess he's probably more of a cash play from that perspective. But I have quite a bit of confidence in him. Cash-wise, you know, I like Daniel Dye a lot this week. So I'm not going to back down from that whatsoever. I'm going to stick with that play. You know, I think when you're looking at cash, like, oh, who's starting in the back that I can trust? Well, Maggio is going nowhere. Hutchins is going nowhere. McGee, Moffitt. They all qualified where they were supposed to qualify. I expected a little bit more out of Mason Massey in the young truck, but I'm not completely surprised given this field that he's 31st. He should have been better than Boyd. Maybe should have been better than Lawless Allen. Lane Riggs jumped ship on that. I like Lane Riggs. I like front row. Rough practice, rough qualifying. You do have a whole race. He could improve. Maybe don't jump ship because maybe we're jumping ship way too soon because he just had a spin early in practice. Had he got more laps, the whole situation would have been different, right? If he doesn't spin out, he's probably at least a top 20 truck and gets plenty of reps. And it's a front row truck. So, yeah, you know what? Don't jump ship on that. That's tournament play. That's cash. That's not cash. Back here, I think maybe you can go with Holmes. It's hard to have any confidence in any of these drivers back here. They are where they are. They're starting about where their truck should be. There really wasn't too many surprises. Matt Mills qualified just about where he is going to finish. Ben Rhodes, I think the sun is setting on Ben Rhodes. I know he got the championship last year, but there are just so many better trucks. All right, let's go back to the questions. That's really interesting, though, because like, there's not like usually cash play, like, oh, these are the guys everybody's going to play. Boy, I think you can go in a lot of different directions. I really do. Okay. I'm trying to keep up with these questions. I'm leaning towards Eckes, Majeski, and Sanchez as my cash core. And that actually could work. And I know people are going to say, well, you can't play 3 hogs. You can't. Well, when we look at qualifying and we see that there really isn't a lot of place differential expensive drivers, like if there was a guy starting in the back who, oh, yeah, we got to jam him in, but that didn't happen. We didn't get a stud really just blow up qualifying. Everyone is starting where they're going to finish. So then I talk about this a lot. You have 3 scoring buckets. You have finishing position points, you have place differential points, and you have hog points. So let's play this out now that we have qualifying. Place differential is not really there. I guess we got Corey Heim as a guy that you can chase after. And I guess going in the cash route, you want to play Corey Heim. That seems to work for me. You want to play Grant Enfinger as, like, I'm not saying he's a lock either, but if we are saying more likely to have a higher floor, then yeah, Grant Enfinger, higher floor, maybe not the upside. But then again, a lot of these drivers up here don't really have upside beyond Eckes, maybe Sanchez. Maybe the upside's not there either. And you could argue that the place differential gives him more upside anyway. So Enfinger probably cash, Heim probably cash. Maybe Rhodes is in that conversation. I don't think I would really put him in there. You can maybe put Matt Craft in that conversation. But other than that, we don't have a top-tier driver that didn't qualify very well. So for the most part, that bucket is closed off. So we're looking at hog points and finishing position points. And really the hog points, that bucket's closed off to everybody for, I can give some scrapes. Maybe there's some cycling. Majeski might have an opportunity. Sanchez might have an opportunity. Maybe I'm foolish to completely dismiss Kyle Busch, but I don't see it. I think Eckes hogs all the hog points or dominator points or place differential points. So then that leaves only place finishing position. So then we're just targeting drivers that can finish up front. So if the question is, hey, should I play these three guys? Yeah, I think those three guys could finish 1, 2, and 3. And it could work because no one else is going to score any points because everyone's starting where they're probably going to finish. Now, there's going to be an outlier here or there, but, I like that idea. Thoughts on Lane Riggs? I think I just pretty much talked about that. And, I'm kind of going back and forth. Obviously, early in the week, I like Lane Riggs a lot. And I'm telling myself now, hey, maybe don't overreact to a poor practice just because he spun out, because he got a little too loose coming out of turn 3, doesn't get any laps, probably was pretty cautious in his qualifying effort. It's just the price now. You guys are talking me into it. Let me dial him up a little bit. Because the more that I think about Lane Riggs in the situation, obviously he was dialing it back in qualifying. Let's give him a 15th. And that pushes him up point per dollar wise to what? 5x, and 8,200 really doesn't help you. I mean, what do we need? A 10th? And that is not easy in this field. He doesn't have very much experience. And yeah, he jumps on the board now. Let's split the difference. 13. And that's still pretty aggressive. He's got to get through the field at Bristol. No reps. 5.5. I feel much more comfortable with a 15th place finish given what we've seen. It's close. It's close enough that I can't erase him from the board. How concerning is the KFB practice session? Yeah, it didn't go well, but then when he had to go down and lay down the fast lap, he laid down the fast lap. But do I expect him to pass Christian Eckes? I really don't. Do I expect Kyle Busch to lead? I mean, he basically, at this price, needs to lead 2/3 of the race. I don't know if he can do that. And we run laps under caution. But then again, in defense of Kyle Busch, the way that the grid is set up, can anyone else score a bunch of points? Even if he leads half, and someone else gets half. And it's classic, 5.3x day for him, but no one else scores any points because there wasn't a big place differential play. Most people start and finish in the same spot. He's not the top play, but he squeezes in there. I can't completely rule him out, but he is not where I want to go. And you watch that Las Vegas race, and I know he had the issue late in the race, but he was never really in contention. The Spire trucks were fast with Rajah Caruth, but he also had track position. I mean, this is a whole nother beast here. So, yeah, probably not as crazy about Kyle Busch. Fire your questions if you got questions. We've got people here, actually, 38 people here. It's pretty amazing. as I enjoy my Major Melon. RaceForThePrize.com. If you haven't already, if you want to get access to this fancy NASCAR spreadsheet, hopefully it's helpful and useful to you. Like, subscribe, share. I don't know how much longer I'm going to be here. I'm looking out the window. It's windy out. Looks like it might rain soon. And my dog is sitting right there. Like, hey, are you going to let me in? Are you going to let me in? I probably should let you in, but I'm in the middle of something right now. And Juggling Scrape is running. That's great. That's awesome. So far, so good. I've already gone longer than I thought it would. It's pretty cool. Who has the best long run speed? Pretty simple. That's Christian Eckes. And you can see it on your screen right there. Ankrum looks pretty good too, though. But we're firing off faster with Eckes. It's hard to pass. Now, again, you can run the lap traffic late in the stage and lose the lead. And we're going to have some people that are going to cycle to the lead probably in stage 2, take 2 tires or no tires. But when everything sorts itself out by the end of the race, for the most part, we do see the best drivers win this race. We see the best drivers end up with the most hog points, cycling to the side. But cycling will happen. Someone will go 2 tires. Someone may not take tires at all, and they're going to get a chunk. And as long as that's a decent driver and they finish where they need to, they're going to end up in the optimal lineup. And that's kind of my theory on Sanchez, although I don't think Sanchez would really be that bold. If we're looking through and I'm Sanchez, I'm taking 4 tires. I'm doing the follow the leader route and trusting my skill. You kind of got to identify who, maybe it would be a Zane Smith play to go. I mean, obviously he did that last year with Front Row Motorsports, gets a speeding penalty and gets cycled out. But he also did that because he was starting closer to the back. I don't think Ankrum really needs to be bold and do anything silly. He is at the top of the point standings. Maybe you get Kyle Busch doing that, but if he does, then he's going to cycle back out of the lead. And so that doesn't really play very well. Maybe a Chase Purdy could do that. He's got a decent result here last year. He had the most speed out of any of the Spire trucks in practice, qualified well. I mean, he's shown you about what you need to see. Where do I have Purdy? I got him finishing 6th. I'm not giving him any hog points. What is he, top 15? Yeah, top 10 play. It's interesting. And I think that's about right. I like Purdy. I still like Dye. Garcia's showing up. Brett Holmes is clocking in. I really don't mind that. I've been pretty bullish on Brett Holmes. 31 fantasy points. Really got him finished like 18th, maybe. Brett Holmes, I know he didn't show too much in practice, but he is making the long runs. You'd like to see that. I got him 18th. Brett Holmes can get to 18th. I mean, he's more likely probably to get to 18th than Stephen Parsons, and he's much cheaper. Not a believer in Dillon. Hill needs chaos. We've talked about Riggs. Anyone below Lawless Allen, we talked about him earlier this week. Probably not going to happen. Maybe you consider Lawless Allen. Maybe if you have to. But at 5,600, I'd rather find a way to Timmy Hill. Rather just play Brett Holmes. I know he's starting a little bit closer to the front. It's not going to get as many attrition points, but, so, I mean, for example, like attrition points, a guy wrecks out and you're going to benefit from that, right? So, and that could Timmy Hill, Ty Dillon, Stephen Parsons. I mean, they're not like pure wreckers. So those aren't guaranteed spots for Lawless Allen. So I don't really need to go there. And, as I said earlier in the week, like I don't see anything in Friesen, and he didn't show anything in practice. He didn't show anything in qualifying. No surprises there. My last name is K. Okay, that's great. That's cool. So you're projecting the Corey Heim win. So I am projecting all of these different guys as a ceiling. So if you haven't seen this before, I'm going to see their ceiling projection. So I could see Eckes winning. Sanchez has a possibility of winning. Kyle Busch has a possibility of winning. We have, let me stop my camera for a second. Yeah, you can come in.
Okay. Didn't know if it was.
All right, guys. I'm going to have to cut us short, and hopefully this was helpful, guys.